Hey guys, it's Oberstadt, and in today's video, I'm actually doing kind of a requested video. My friend Takita and I have been talking online. I've known her since 6th grade, and she wanted to see a pink and purple eye look. So because this palette has quite a few variations of pink and purple, I'm going to grab the 39S, which is such a gem palette from Morphe. I do like this palette. I don't know, I kind of go back and forth on the palettes that I use, so I don't use this like all the time. But what I plan on doing is using the exact same shades out of here from one eye to the other, but I'm going to be using them differently. So this is going to be a 2 looks, 1 palette video, but it's going to be kind of a twist. So you're going to see 2 different looks, but the same color combos. So that way you can look at something and be like, oh, well, this palette only has so many shades. I'm not going to be able to get very many looks out of it. This is to show you that even though you only use certain colors, you can get very different looks by how you place them, how you use them. So if you're interested in seeing me do this, and I'm going to be like chatting about some things, I'm going to reminisce about Takita, and I'm also going to be asking you guys a few questions that I want answers to in the comment section down below. So if you're interested in seeing me do this and chat while I do it, then keep on watching, because, I don't know, let's make this interesting. I will be using like concealer and corrector and that kind of stuff like after, but I wanted to do like my eyes, at least the top part of my eyes first. All right, this is my Luxie 249 brush, and I don't have, where the heck is the little mirror? What I'll probably end up doing is putting the palette up on the screen, but I'm gonna go into this Very Good shade. It's this one right here. It's kind of like a rose toned shade, and this is one of their pressed pigment formulas. The majority of this palette is a pressed pigment. And I'm gonna start off on this eye with it. I don't have anything on my face, no eye primer, no, I got up and washed my face 8 o'clock this morning. It's about 11 now, so my skincare is like completely soaked in. Okay, now I think I'm gonna go into Plums Up, which is the same formula as the Very Good shade that I just used, and I'm just gonna take the other side of this Luxie brush that I have. So I was talking with a friend of mine the other day on Facebook about like shows that we used to watch as a kid, or things that we grew up watching, whether it was, you know, sitcoms or cartoons or, you know, things like that, shows that kind of stuck out in our minds when we were younger. And we got to talking about some of the different shows, and he's a little older than I am. So it was kind of nice to see a different perspective from somebody else as to what shows they grew up with and what they actually watched when they were kids and things like that. So I wanted to kind of put out there, you know, a question to you guys, because I mainly have like the age range on my channel is from like age 24 to 65, which is perfectly okay with me. I don't have anybody under the age of 18 that watches me. But what I want to know is, what were your favorite shows like growing up? Have they done like remakes on them? Because I know when I was growing up, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch was like probably one of the only shows I was allowed to watch without supervision. And the remake of it is kind of different. I also watched Charms in my like early 20s, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about the remake of that. But I do know that there's quite a few shows that I grew up with that they've done remakes of recently, and I honestly don't know how I feel about some of the changes that they've made to the, you know, stories that I grew up with. So I was curious to see what everybody used to, you know, watch growing up, and what you think about some of the ways that they're changing things now versus how they were when you were growing up. I know the message is a lot different. Even, for example, like I watched Full House when it was on, and now I've watched Fuller House, which I guess it's not really a remake, it's more like an extension of the show But you can definitely see some differences between shows now versus shows back then. And I didn't know if I was the only one that noticed that. All right, I'm gonna go into Flaunt It, which is like a shimmer shade. I did get my brush wet. It's like a rosy shimmer shade. I'm gonna put this right here for right now. And we'll see what I'm gonna do. Now, talking about Takita, or Kita, however you want to call her, I met her in 6th grade. I think we went to the same elementary school together, but I was only at that school for like 2 months. And in like elementary school, you were in like your classroom all day, and then you like went and ate lunch together as a class, and like you went to the library as a class. So like there was library time that was separated up in between the different, you know, teachers. So we never got to see like other classes unless we were like out on the field or, you know, doing drills or anything like that. So I honestly can't tell you if she was, you know, at Triangle Elementary with me or not, because we were kind of segregated by classes because of how the school was run. And if you weren't in the same class with that teacher, you didn't really get to see the other kids unless we were all out in the main area, like I said, mainly outside together. And I honestly don't remember. I think I sat at my desk to eat because my mom would make my lunch. So I didn't go to like the cafeteria area to eat. I stayed in classroom the whole time. It's like I said, I was only there for 2 months, and it was at the very end of the year. So it was kind of difficult for me. I didn't make very many friends that year, but when it came to 6th grade, we were in like classes that rotated. So you got to see a lot more people, meet a lot more people, things like that. I'm gonna take this Marvelous shade, which is also a pressed pigment. I'm gonna put that here. Oh, it looks like a topper shade. Let me try that with my finger. Some of these shades, they feel like wet. Okay, that's a lot better. It's also very glittery. But I know I had been going through a lot when I went to Mount Dora Middle. In 5th grade alone, I went through like 7 different schools. So I was in and out of homes, I was in and out of foster care, DCF was in our life, so I was in and out of that situation. And so it was really hard to make friends because I didn't stay in one place for more than 2 or 3 months. So I was constantly in and out of new schools, and trying to make friends was like ripping my hair out. So I just kind of stayed to myself and I didn't like hang out with too many people. Like I had a couple of people that I would talk to at each school, but I was bumped around so much my 5th grade year that I just couldn't. So when we finally got settled somewhere after my grandfather died and I started Mount Dora Middle, it was nice to be in like one school, and I was there for like the whole year. So I was going through a rough time, and I had a slick mouth, and I still have a slick mouth, but I always had an issue with those preppy, blonde, yappy, like Chihuahua poodle dog type girls, the ones that thought that their shit didn't stink and that they were all the stuck up snobby girls. And we had one girl that had just moved there from like Hollywood, Florida, and she thought she was the shit because she came from Hollywood. So she was constantly like yapping at me, and her name was the same as mine. So we were both Rebecca's. Only thing is I'm older, so technically it was my name first. And her and I used to butt heads all the time, and I don't know how many times I got into fights with her. She would just run her mouth and run her mouth and run her mouth and run her mouth and run until I would just pop her in it. And I don't know how many times Takita had to pull me off, that poor girl. At one point, she made me so angry, she made a comment about my parents, and I went off. Like, I went off, and Takita just stood there and watched. I grabbed her by the back of the head, and I went bash, 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 bash on her locker with her face. And I'm sure she was ringing the whole day because I hit her face into her locker so hard I dented the front of her locker. And thankfully, because she put her hands on me first, I didn't get in trouble. And like, you know, everybody in school, they're like, fight, fight, fight. Yeah, Takita, that was the one day that I remember Takita didn't stop me from whooping her. Never mind. So I asked her recently, I was like, did you do that on purpose? And she goes, you'll never know. I'm like, oh, that is just wrong. That is so wrong. All right, I'm gonna take It's Violet, which is a purple shimmer, and I'm gonna put that over this outside edge because we are using purples and pinks. We're not just doing one or the other. But yeah, she, like, when people would get slick in the mouth and come at me, Takita was usually the one that would step in and be like, do you really want to do that? Do you think that's smart? Or she'd stand there and she'd... So, yeah, she was like my bodyguard in school. She kept me from getting into trouble. She kept me from getting into fights a few times. We had fun and in-school suspension together. I don't know, we had a blast. And then after high school and stuff, we ended up living in the same apartment complex. And our kids were little together, and so we would go to the pool and hang out by the pool and, you know, just kind of hang in the pool with our arms up on the sides and, you know, let our kids play and splash and whatnot. And we would just hang in the pool and chill and stuff when we had free time together, and that was, you know, it was awesome. So she's been my girl for a very, very long time, and I will always appreciate her for who she is and how she's always treated me. And not like it matters, but she's black and I'm white, and it, you know, when I was growing up, that stuff didn't matter. I mean, unless you were a bigot. Like, being friends with somebody that was a different complexion than you wasn't like so stigmatized like it is now. And like, I had my white best friend, I had my black best friend, and we didn't have a whole lot of like Hispanics in my school until like I reached high school. And then we had like one or two maybe, and we had like one Oriental kid all through middle and high school, and that was basically it. We didn't have, it was basically, we were either black or white. Somebody just knocked on the door. Okay, so the knocking was my cat trying to get in the bathroom because the door was closed. He's now in my laundry basket. Like, I will show you. See, cat in laundry. Which I need to wash laundry before the hurricane comes. I'm trying to get, you know, dishes washed, laundry done, that kind of thing before the storm hits, just because I like to be prepared. All right, so just gonna clean up on this eye, just a little. Just so there's nothing on this eyelid. And this is one of these like Fabletics makeup removing cloths. It's like super quick at getting my makeup off, and it doesn't tug like the Always Off ones does, which is nice. Really nice. All right. Now, we're going to be using the same colors again, but just in a different arrangement. And I'm leaving this zoomed out. I will zoom it in during editing on purpose because I find that I look down quite a bit to look into the palette, and I noticed that when I was zoomed in, I kept chopping my head off. So it's just easier to do it this way, and then I'll just change it during editing. All right, so I'm taking Plums Up first, which is the shade that we used out here, and I'm gonna put this up here. It's a very dark, plummy purple shade. So 8th grade year, Takita gave me this beautiful 14 karat gold heart necklace with 13 stones in it, and I don't know if they were diamonds or CZs or what, but she was the one who got me started on like all of the heart shaped jewelry, and it came with a very delicate 14 karat gold necklace, and I wore that every day of my 8th grade year. And I don't know if I'll have to look and see if it's in my pictures for 8th grade, my yearbook. If it is, I will take a short video clip of the yearbook picture, and I will probably take a couple pictures of the yearbook of like me and Takita in the yearbook and stuff. There were several pictures the yearbook students like took pictures of with us together, but for whatever reason, those pictures never made it into the yearbook. So I don't know why, but it didn't, which is fine. I was surprised I had more than just a regular stock photo in there anyways. I just want to make sure this is blended really well because this is a pressed pigment. Now I'm going to go into that Very Good shade with that first Luxie brush that I used, which is the first shade that I used up here. And I'm going to put this all over my lid if I can get this brush to to work. Some of these pigments are pressed really hard into the pan, so they don't want to pick up with a fluffy brush. I might have to use, I'm going to take a BH brush. It's still kind of fluffy, but it's like a packing type brush. But yeah, she gave me that, and I wore that off and on, and I don't wear gold. Gold looks really bad on my skin because of my skin color. It's always looked really horrible on me. And so I never, that was really the only gold jewelry that I ever wore, was that necklace that she gave me. And then a couple years back, my cousin, she's a cousin through marriage, my uncle was married to her mom at one point, and they got divorced, so they were only related via marriage, and she wasn't his child. But she lived here at the house for about 6 months, and during that time, any jewelry that looked like it was worth any money, she stole. And I have looked high and low for that necklace, because I know when I moved in here with my dad, I still owned that necklace. Like, I even took pictures of it and like sent it to Kita on Facebook before she deactivated her. She deactivated her Facebook for a while. She just reactivated it, but we talk on like Instagram like every day or every other day. And she doesn't live up here anymore. She lives down in Polk County, but she does come up this way for church every Sunday. So we were supposed to meet up last Sunday and talk about reunion plans. She's my date for a reunion, and I'm very happy about that. Couldn't ask for a better date. She's like, I wanted to go, but my husband's working and I can't, I don't really want to go by myself. So I sent her a message back. I said, do you want to be my date? And she sent me a message back. She's like, I sure would. So I'm excited. Our 20-year high school reunion is coming up the day after my 39th birthday. So we're going to go to the football game, which will be the first one I've ever been to for Mount Dora. And then we're going to go to some place called Pisces Rising. I've never heard of it. But we're going to go there for the meetup with the rest of the class afterwards. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do right now is go into that It's Violet shade, which is what I used over here. And I'm going to pop this in the center of my lid. Kind of just haphazardly. I'm not making anything like defined. And then I'm going to press over it with my finger. I had somebody ask me how I use eyeshadows without using a primer or anything, and how I get things to stick. This is how. One, I use a brush that is wet with just water. I mean, literally, I pour water out of the tap into the lid, and I dip my brush into it. I run the excess off with my finger, and then I press over the shade with my finger and like press it down into my eyelid. And I have hooded eyes. So if you notice when I draw out my eyebrows and look forward, quite a bit of my lid space is covered. So if you notice when I'm doing makeup, I raise my eyebrows and I keep it raised while I'm applying, and then, you know, of course I'll drop it. But I've had a couple people ask me about that. Now I'm going to go into the Flaunted shade, which was what I put on the middle over here. And I'm going to kind of haphazardly put this on either side of that shade. Kind of like a halo eye, but I'm not being like super precise with it. I just want like the hint of a shimmer. And then constantly pressing over it. And what this does when you have more than one shimmer down is it kind of like merges the colors together. And of course you're going to end up with a pink finger, which is why I keep wiping my fingers off on this. And then I'm going to flip the brush over and grab that Mauvelous shade and put it up here. And because it's more of a toppery type shade, there's a little bit of pigment behind it, but it's mainly just like a purple iridescent sheen. And I'm going to run it here as well. And then I run my finger over it to blend that shade. So it's just kind of like a hint of purple in the center. Not really defined, but it's enough that you can see it. So now to clean up my face and any fallout and whatnot, I will go ahead and do corrector, concealer, blush, bronzer, and highlight off camera So this video isn't a million minutes long because the first set of recording was like 16 minutes and this one's 9 minutes so far. So I will speed up some of this in editing. All right, now that my face is done, I'm gonna take a Morphe M149 brush into Very Good. And I'm gonna start in the center of my eye, underneath, and work it out towards the edge. Really close to my lash line, and then I'm gonna drag it up. And then just blending out with the original brush. And since I already have it handy, I'm gonna take this on the inner part of my eye here. I didn't do mascara or liner yet. Okay, and now with the other side of this brush, I'm going into Plums Up. And I'm just lightly sweeping this color under the other shade. Just real light, tiny strokes. And then I'm going to use it over here. And then just try and connect the top and the bottom. I'm going to grab Marvelous first. It's the lightest of the three shades, and I'm going to, this is what I used on the inner part of this eye, and I'm going to touch it on the inner corner and then just underneath a little bit, and then pressing over it as well. I'm going to also put it on the inner corner of this eye, and just putting it just a little under in the front, and then pressing over it. Now to take off some of the color. Now into the Flaunt It shade. I'm gonna go right up underneath the center of my eye and then drag it towards the center, or the middle. I'm gonna start in the center and drag it towards my nose. And then I'm going to do just a little bit on the inner and outer part on this eye. Got a little too far down. And I'm just taking the color off and then going into its violets. And I'm going to put this on the outside and then in the inner center of this. And I'm doing this really close to my lashes on this eye, kind of like using the shimmer shades as a liner. And because some of that purple got lost, I just used what was left on the brush to tap it up there. And then I'm just going to press right up against my lash line to adhere those shimmers. And you always want to use your ring finger when working around your eye area because number one, it is the weakest finger on your hand. And you don't want to cause any more wrinkles than you already have by using other fingers. I'm going to put just a smidge more right here. I have a crease right here on my eye. And sometimes the shadow gets lost in it. Okay, so one last blend over things. Alright, I'm going to pop off and do mascara and black liner, and then I will come back with you zoomed in and show you the eyes up close to show you that 1, 2, 3, 4, I used 5 shades total. They're all the same shades on both eyes, but the looks are completely different just by placement. So give me just a minute to do mascara and liner. I think I'm gonna take you guys outside and show you what this looks like before it storms. I mean, we have a hurricane coming, well, in Florida, but I really do like how these look. Looking straight ahead, you really can't tell that they're different until you get up close. That's when you see that there is a difference. So I like how these look. You can always do like different things. I could have done a cut crease and then applied the shimmers. That way I could have used 2 shimmers instead of 3. I only used 2 matte shades, but I wanted to keep it kind of simple with, you know, using just similar tones in this palette because there are warm toned shades and cool toned shades. Here are 2 looks using the exact same shades for my friend Takita Hayes. Hey, Kita. And hopefully she likes this. I don't know when I'm going to get it edited, but this will most likely go up in September. And you'll probably see this makeup look again because I have to record my August Shop My Stash recap. I honestly cannot believe it is the end of August. Where have 8 months of this year gone? I honestly am blown away by how fast this year seems to have moved. It really is astonishing to me. I've been super busy editing and uploading and scheduling on YouTube. If you have something, hello? I just had a bug ping off my eyebrow. If you have something that you want to see me do, like give me colors. Give me like 2 or 3 colors that you want to see me use. And eyelash in my eye. And I will create a look or even 2 using those colors, but showing you how to use them in different ways. And remember, everybody's eyes are different. The way that our eyes are shaped are different. How hooded everybody's eyes are is different. So as long as you are, if you want to follow along with the steps that I'm doing, but make sure that it fits your eye. And I mean, I've got up here, I've got quite a bit of real estate and I've got quite a bit of lid space as well. So you need to make sure that when you are doing makeup on yourself, following a tutorial that anybody is doing, make sure that you customize it so it fits your face and your eye shape. My eyes are kind of downturned, so a lot of the shadows that I put out here kind of make my eyes look sad, but if I bring it up, it makes my face look weird. It's like doing this to my face, and it makes my face look even more narrow than it already is. And I try and keep a lot of the darker shades out to the sides of my face so that it kind of draws my eyes apart because I have a very narrow face and my eyes are very close set. There's only about 3/4 of an inch between my eyes, and usually the width of your eye is what it should be from here to here. And even at the doctor, they measured me from the corner of this eye. If I was to go by the measurement of my actual eye, it ends up being like to here. So my eyes are very close together. So I try and keep a lot of the lighter shades towards the center of my face. That's why I highlight the center of my nose and try and bring some light here. All right, here we are outside under the tree cover. Everything under here, under the trees, looks very, well, I mean, it's like being in an office building or in shade. So let me come stand in direct sunlight so you can see the looks. I'll probably blind myself. You would never know there's a hurricane coming. Oh God, that's bright. Go back to the shade. It's still close to where the sun is. But now you can see what these look like. Using all the same shades, just 2 different looks. But anyways, this is the finished look. I'm gonna go record a clip outside so you guys can see it. It'll be popped in before this anyways, but I'm Rebecca Oberstadt. Hopefully you guys have a great day or night wherever you are. Don't forget to comment your favorite shows when you were growing up in the comment section down below. And let me know if they made a remake of it and what you think of the remakes. So I will see you guys later. Bye.